Marco was a purist. His small, debt-ridden workshop in Modena, Italy, was a shrine to automotive history, not a profit machine. He specialized in pre-1970s Italian racing cars, living hand-to-mouth by breathing life back into forgotten relics. His latest project took him to a scrapyard in Tuscany, a vast, chaotic labyrinth of rusting steel and broken dreams. He wasn't looking for a Ferrari. He was looking for a specific gearbox from a defunct Alfa Romeo. Deep in the back, where the piles of scrap metal grew into mountains, he saw an outline that defied the geometry of junk. It was a long, low, covered shape, protected by a decaying military tarp. The owner, an old man who valued tonnage over provenance, laughed when Marco asked about the shape, calling it a piece of crushed red history. Marco bought the entire, massive pile of scrap surrounding the object just to get the tarp. When he finally pulled the tarp away, the world seemed to hold its breath. What lay before him was a mangled, scorched, but recognizably original Ferrari 250 GTO. Its iconic scarlet paint was cracked and blistered, the nose was crumpled, and the driver's side door was missing, yet the essential aluminum shell remained. The GTO was not just a car, it was a ghost. Marco immediately recognized the damage pattern. This was the legendary Chassis 376, the famous GTO that vanished in 1963 after a devastating, high-speed crash during a South American endurance race. Officially, the car was recorded as destroyed on-site, and its wreckage sold for scrap. But here it was, hidden in Tuscany. Its minimum starting value, even as wreckage, exceeded $50 million. Marco knew he couldn't call the authorities yet. He needed proof. He started the grueling, delicate process of separating the wreckage from the scrap mountain. When he finally gained access to the cockpit, he found the first clue: a small, lead-lined cylinder welded into the tubular frame near the passenger footwell, hidden beneath layers of foam and fire-retardant material. Inside the cylinder was a tightly rolled, wax-sealed vellum scroll. It wasn't a logbook or a blueprint. It was a personal letter written in flawless Italian, dated 1964, and signed by the great race car driver who piloted Chassis 376, a driver whose death was officially recorded a year earlier. The letter confessed the crash was intentional, a sophisticated maneuver to fake his own death and smuggle a priceless, illegal payload. Marco had found the wreckage, but he had also found the driver's final, shocking secret. Marco secured the GTO in his garage, carefully documenting every piece of debris that had protected the shell for 6 decades. He consulted a local historian, Dr. Elena Rossi, regarding the driver's death in 1963. Dr. Rossi confirmed the legend. The driver, Vittorio Leone, was a national hero whose fiery death was mourned across Italy. The letter proved the legend was a lie. Vittorio's letter detailed his disgust with the corrupt organizers of a race, and his plan to use the GTO's high-profile transportation to smuggle a treasure of immense cultural significance out of South America. The plan required the car to be wrecked and officially declared destroyed, ensuring the car and its contents vanished, without triggering any international alarms. The crash site was rigged to look fatal, while Vittorio escaped with a new identity. But the letter didn't specify the cargo. It instructed the finder to check the heart of the chassis. Marco realized the GTO was structurally compromised not just by the accident, but by intentional modification. The rear suspension mounting points were unnaturally thick. Using his knowledge of classic Ferrari manufacturing, he determined the shock towers had been custom cast with internal chambers. This modification was the true secret vault. Using a precise cold cutting technique to avoid damaging the contents, Marco and Dr. Rossi opened the hollowed-out shock towers. They contained perfectly sealed, titanium canisters wrapped in silk. Inside the canisters, they found the payload, a collection of 3 miniature masterworks by the Baroque painter Caravaggio. These were documented masterpieces stolen from a private museum in Brazil in 1962, believed to be lost forever. Vittorio, the race car driver, was also a cultural preservationist who had risked everything to save the art from criminals and corrupt officials. The GTO was worth $50 million. The 3 Caravaggio paintings were collectively appraised at over $250 million. Marco had found a cultural fortune hidden within a racing legend. He had the physical evidence and the driver's confession. The magnitude of the discovery required an immediate, honest action. Marco knew the drill. He was now a custodian of priceless international assets. His path to securing his family's future was through total compliance. He secured the art and immediately contacted the Italian Ministry of Culture and the Carabinieri Art Squad. Stop right there. The wreck of a $50 million Ferrari hiding $250 million in stolen Caravaggio paintings is an unbelievable find. But the story is far from over. We need your help to keep unearthing these epic secrets. Hit that subscribe button now and give this video a like. The driver's ultimate fate and the massive reward are still ahead. Comment below, which GTO color is the best? Let's dive back into the final chapters. The Carabinieri Art Squad and the Ministry of Culture descended upon Marco's garage. The authentication of the Caravaggio paintings was immediate and absolute. The recovery of such high-value cultural assets solved one of the biggest international art theft cases of the 1960s. The GTO wreckage became the central piece of evidence in an international claim involving the Brazilian government, the private museum, and the driver's estate. Marco, retained as the lead technical consultant, helped dissect the GTO's chassis to provide a full analysis of Vittorio's ingenious smuggling operation. He discovered a hidden microswitch wired to the car's remaining electrical system. This switch, had the wreckage been moved by unauthorized parties, would have triggered a burst of corrosive chemical foam, destroying the art inside the shock towers. Vittorio had protected the art from the very forces he distrusted, creating a mechanical booby trap. The complexity of the case required a specialized international law firm. Marco and Dr. Rossi secured representation to navigate the complex waters of Italian cultural patrimony law, Brazilian ownership claims, and international salvage law. The true value was realized. The GTO's wreckage and the art were worth close to $300 million, making the finder's reward potentially colossal. However, the legal proceedings revealed a chilling final twist, similar to the anchor's gold in the naval tugboat. Vittorio Leone's confession letter included an almost invisible footnote written in a chemical compound, a warning about the original race organizers. The organizers, a syndicate known as the Scuderia, were not just corrupt, they were tied to high-level money laundering and had forced Vittorio to transport another illegal payload in his GTO, $15 million in uncut emeralds, smuggled out of Colombia. Vittorio had faked his crash not just to save the art, but to keep the emeralds from the Scuderia. The note specified the emeralds were hidden not in the chassis, but inside the GTO's transaxle, the complex gearbox structure, which was designed to be easily swapped out at a planned pit stop. Marco realized the GTO had carried 3 separate illegal assets. The transaxle, still attached to the engine, became the focus of a tense, 2-day operation by bomb disposal and ordnance experts, fearing another booby trap. Marco's garage was now solving a decades-old art theft, exposing a major organized crime syndicate, and recovering millions in illegally smuggled jewels. The GTO was truly the Scarlet Secret. The operation on the transaxle was successful. Inside the gearbox housing, experts found the smuggled payload, a collection of high-quality, uncut Colombian emeralds, sealed in a lead case, valued at $15 million. The recovery of the jewels directly implicated the leadership of the Scuderia, leading to international arrests and the dismantling of a massive money laundering operation. Marco's honest find had solved 3 distinct, massive international cold cases: the art theft, the organized crime syndicate, and the mystery of the missing GTO. The legal complexity of the GTO itself was solved by an agreement. The 3 Caravaggio paintings were returned to the private museum in Brazil. The $15 million in emeralds were seized by international police forces, and the GTO wreckage, deemed a unique artifact of mechanical and historical significance, was sold in a private sale to a consortium of preservationists who pledged to fully restore it. The total reward package, consolidated from the Brazilian government for the art, Interpol for the jewels, and the GTO's finder's fee, was massive. The final monetary settlement awarded to Marco, recognizing his immense integrity and indispensable technical expertise, totaled an incredible $35 million. The wreckage Marco bought for scrap had yielded a world-changing fortune. He used the funds to buy his garage outright, expand his team, and establish the Vittorio Leone Trust, a foundation dedicated to preserving cultural assets found in unexpected places. The trust ensured that the restored chassis 376, now a running, driving piece of history, would be displayed publicly, telling the complete, complex story of its driver. Marco, the struggling mechanic, became a world-renowned figure, celebrated for valuing truth over profit. The GTO's scarlet secret, once hidden in rust, guaranteed his family's future and cemented his legacy as a restorer who found the most valuable kind of treasure: honesty. The discovery of the GTO's scarlet secret proved that the greatest stories are often found where you least expect them, in the ashes of failure and the quiet corners of a scrapyard. If you want to uncover more stories of unimaginable fortunes hidden in forgotten cars, make sure you hit that subscribe button now and join us for the next great find.